Back in June, I set a goal for myself to make 32 videos throughout the summer talking about all 32 NFL teams and what they did during the 2025 NFL Draft. But if it's not apparent by the fact that I just hit the halfway point a couple days ago and we're now in August, things haven't exactly gone according to plan. But I'm not going to pivot, I'm going to stand strong and get done what I said I was going to get done. So here in the month of August, we've got 17 videos talking about the remaining teams, handing out grades for every single draft pick, and just giving my thoughts and analysis on some of these players and their fits. A couple things to keep in mind before we jump into this. Number one, since I am recording these in August, I'm not taking like training camp or any off-season additions into account. So if there was a signing, a trade, anything like that after the draft, that doesn't factor into the grades. I wrote these grades down. I came up with my thoughts back in April and May, and I'm sticking with them out of fairness to the teams that I talked about way back in June. Additionally, if a player gets cut, which is unfortunately the reality for this time of year for some of these day 3 players and some of the UDFAs I might even decide to talk about, I will still be talking about them in the video. They still deserve their flowers. They got drafted to the NFL. That's no easy feat. They still deserve to be talked about. But also, someone might come along here in a little bit and find out their team signed one of these guys and might want to hear my opinions on them, something like that. So they will still be included and they will still be factored into the actual draft grade, because again, these grades are from April and May and not August. And the most important thing, because people seem to forget about this, I am just giving my opinions here. I am not some oracle that knows exactly how these picks are going to play out. I'm not infallible. I get things wrong. I have in the past, I will in the future, and I'll probably get things wrong in these videos. But at the end of the day, I like sharing my opinions because I watch a lot of film, I put a lot of time into this, and people seem to like my opinions, so I'm going to continue to share them. So if you come into my comments and say, I trust my GM more than I trust some guy on the internet, I can't really argue with you there. I'm not trying to say I know better than your GM or your scouts or your coach or whoever. These are just my opinions at the end of the day. But with all that being said, let's go ahead and jump into talking about whatever team we're going to be talking about today. If you've been following this series throughout the summer, then you know I have been starting these videos with what I would call a vibe check for all of the teams, whether that be talking about their free agency, talking about guys currently on the roster, talking about what happened to them last season, whatever it may be, just kind of getting the overall vibes for the given team, and then being able to take that and take the rookies that they drafted and put those things together to give that some sort of context. But with Washington, I don't think that's the route I need to take. And it's not because, Washington isn't worth talking about or whatever. It's because I royally messed up with one of my evaluations last year. More specifically, I royally messed up with my thoughts on the Commanders taking Jaden Daniels second overall, because I was not a huge fan of that move. I was pretty adamant in saying I thought it was a mistake. I thought that they passed up on a surefire franchise quarterback in Drake May, and while I still think Drake May absolutely is the guy for New England, Jaden Daniels is most certainly the guy for Washington. I'm not going to sit here and be like, well, it's only 1 year, things could happen a second year, because, yeah, technically speaking, that's true, but come on, that would be lame. That would be me trying to save face, and I'm not here to do that. I'm man enough to admit when I was wrong, and I was definitely wrong about Jaden Daniels. And I could sit here and talk about all the little problems that I had with him and how they were corrected. Some of the things like his field vision or how long he holds the ball or his work in the quick game. I didn't like those 3 things in college. In the NFL, it was much different, right? He read the field super well last year for Washington. He was able to deliver in the quick game pretty consistently. He was able to get the ball out quickly when he needed to, while still retaining that big-time playmaker ability, whether it be downfield, throwing the ball to Terry McLaurin, or obviously taking off and scrambling with his legs. He was just incredible last year. So I'm not going to sit here and bore you with a big, long apology or anything like that. But I did want to start this video off by saying I was very much wrong on that. I'm fully aware of that. That's totally my bad. And I definitely will not let Justin Fields cloud my judgment ever again, because that was something that I definitely fell victim to. I looked at what happened to Justin Fields, who in college I thought was pretty similar to Jaden, not one-to-one. Obviously, Fields didn't run as much, but there were a lot of similarities to that. And then when you throw in the running ability, I saw a lot of similarities to NFL Fields. And I did not take into account that Jaden would be going to play for a team that had a real offensive mind in the building and not one of Matt Nagy or Luke Getsy. So that will do wonders for your ability to grow and progress. It really helps when you have someone on your side that knows what they're doing, and Jaden absolutely had that last year. And that's not to say that I think Jaden Daniels is like a Cliff Kingsbury merchant or something. Obviously, he's not. He's just a very good player who was helped by having a good offensive coordinator who knew what he was doing and knew how to help a young rookie kind of transition to the NFL. But with that out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about their draft class this year, starting out with Josh Connerly, the offensive tackle out of Oregon, who is going to obviously be very important for Jaden Daniels this year. I thought the value here was great, right around where I would have taken him. I had a late round 1 to early round 2 grade on him. You get him here at the end of the first round. 21-year-old tackle prospect, 6'5", 311 pounds with over 34-inch arms. So he's got the frame you want to see for an NFL tackle. He's a good athlete with the ability to get out in space, work to the second level efficiently, or reach block if needed. He's very fluid as a mover once he's out in space. He's a super smart player who consistently picks up on stunts and blitzes. He maintains great, consistent balance that gives him arguably the best recovery ability in the class, which is going to be very important, and we'll talk about that in a second. He showcases awesome play strength as a run blocker. He has aggressive, active hands with great grip strength. He packs a punch at the point of attack to jolt defenders upright. He shows very polished, fluid footwork and pass protection to mirror defenders consistently. I already mentioned he's good at picking up on stunts and blitzes, and a big part of that is because he's very aware of everything going on around him. He keeps his head on a swivel very consistently. As a run blocker, he's aggressive, he's nasty. He looks to attack defenders as opposed to just protecting the ball carrier, which is very entertaining to see. He has like a fullback's approach to playing tackle, if that makes sense. If it doesn't, that's very high praise for me. That's like my favorite thing to talk about football is fullbacks if you're new to the channel. But what I mean by that is he wants to take somebody's head off as opposed to just get the guy across from him, right? When it comes to watching Josh Connerly, when it comes to seeing what he does in the run game, he is very much somebody who will block the guy in front of him, get off that block as soon as he can, and then light up a linebacker at the second level, or just light up the guy in front of him if he needs to. Whatever it may be, he is so aggressive and so fun to watch. He's also very good on combo blocks. He's able to consistently put his head on the defender's hip to push them down the line before getting to the second level. So he's a really good run blocker who is also a very, very capable pass protector, very good technique and pass pro. On the flip side of things, though, I already alluded to his recovery ability being important, and that is because his anchor is not great. More specifically, his core strength is lacking. It is going to leave him susceptible to bull rushes. It's going to leave him susceptible to getting knocked off his platform. It's just not great. And on top of that, it wouldn't be as bad if he had consistent pad level and could just stay low consistently, but he cannot. His pad level tends to rise, especially later in games, which is going to hurt his ability to gain leverage and try to anchor. So you got to figure something out with that. Last year, there was a player I was very low on who got drafted, ironically, a similar profile in Roger Rosengarten for the exact same reason. I was like, okay, his core strength is lacking. This is going to hurt him. He's not going to be able to handle bull rushes. He's not going to be able to handle some of the more powerful and aggressive edge rushers in the league. He came out and was just a lights out technician as a hand fighter, and that ended up helping him win a lot of reps. Whereas, you know, if he wasn't that, he would have gotten blown off the ball pretty consistently. So if Connerly can get himself to that point, which he's not far off from, it's just about some of the placement right now, then that won't be as big of an issue by any means. Right now, like I said, the hand placement, it's a little wide, and sometimes it can come in a little late. If he can get his punches timed better and he can land them closer to the chest of the defensive lineman, then he's going to be in much better shape there. But other than that, it's just about the anchor. That's really the big concern. He's polished across the board. Otherwise, I genuinely think he has franchise potential, a little bit more of a quote-unquote developmental player than some of the other top tackles in this class. At least for me, the three guys I had ahead of him, I wouldn't label as developmental just because of that anchor. Like, that anchor is definitely something that needs to improve. But you look at Washington's depth chart right now. I know we're in August and this isn't like final or anything, but it doesn't look like Connerly's going to be listed as a starter right away. Maybe he's going to be able to earn that. I wouldn't be shocked because he is a very talented player. But if he can develop as a hand fighter just a little bit more, again, just time his punches a little bit better and land his hands a little closer to the chest, then Connerly can be an absolute stud in the NFL. So having him opposite Laramie Tunsil would be massive for Jaden Daniels and the rest of the Commanders offense. So a fantastic pick there. Absolutely no critiques whatsoever. And that also applies to their second round pick, Trey Amos, the corner out of Ole Miss, who is the definition of a high floor prospect. But taking a look at my notes here on Trey Amos, 6'1", 195 pounds, really good frame for a boundary corner in the NFL. Not the fastest guy in the world, but he is able to keep with receivers very consistently within 20 to 25 yards of the line of scrimmage. He's not slow by any means. He's just not like one of these freaky athletes who, can kind of do everything everywhere all at once. From an IQ perspective, he is one of, if not the smartest corner in the class with fantastic anticipation ability, is so good at breaking on routes, and he also just has tremendous field vision. He reads the field like a quarterback in the secondary. It's truly something to behold, the way he is able to read out what the offense is doing and is able to attack at exactly the perfect moment to break up a pass, come downhill against the run, or, even intercept a football. He has very, very good ball skills to pair with that, as I mentioned, with that ability to break on a dime and kind of attack at the perfect moment. Pairing that with good ball skills is going to lead to turnovers. He's very physical in press coverage. He can get up in a receiver's face. He's got over 31-inch arms to really kind of jam guys if needed. He has great awareness in zone coverage with the ability to quickly close on nearby receivers, as I've already alluded to. In man coverage, he's solid with really good mirroring ability. And in run defense, he isn't afraid to get his hands dirty. He is very willing to come downhill and do what he has to. On the flip side of things, though, he is not an elite athlete by any means. Not to the point where it's going to make him unplayable or anything like that. He's a passable athlete for sure. But you can't expect him to run like stride for stride with an elite deep threat or anything like that. Like, say you're going up against Cincinnati, you can't put him on Jamar Chase on a deep route because Jamar Chase is going to burn him pretty consistently. So things of that nature will become a problem for him. As I'm sitting here editing this, there is one more thing I want to add in regards to this whole athleticism deficiency thing. Because sure, realistically, it will get him in trouble in specific circumstances. If you have him guarding a guy on the outside who runs like a 4-3, a 4-2, and he's in one-on-one man coverage, that receiver's running a vertical route, then yeah, he could absolutely get beat over the top in let-up separation and things like that. But despite him not being the fastest guy in the world, he is such a sticky corner, which you can obviously see in these highlights, and it's so impressive because all that tells me is he is much smarter than even I'm giving him credit for. His field vision is even better than I'm giving him credit for. Like, it is unreal how well he is able to read and react to be able to make plays on the ball despite not being the most athletic guy in the world. It is truly something to behold. I love Trey Amos, and rewatching these highlights as I'm putting them into the video here really made me realize I need to bring this up or I am not doing my due diligence and I'm not doing him justice. So wanted to make that clear that even though he isn't the most athletic guy in the world, it's really not going to hold him back all that much. And he still has the ability to be a very, very good corner for the Commanders. But with that being said, let's go ahead and see what else I had to say about Amos. Additionally, in man coverage, because he isn't the most athletic guy in the world, he doesn't have the hip fluidity you'd like to see to flip his hips, and his footwork is also pretty clunky. So that would be like the one place he needs to develop, but even then, like, he's able to hold his own in man coverage with his instincts and football IQ. So for now, it's not a huge deal, but if he's going to develop into an even higher tier of corner, then you definitely want to see that improve. Additionally, in the run game, I already said he likes to get his hands dirty, but his tackling form is a little inconsistent. Definitely want to see that get cleaned up a bit. But outside of that, like, he is an awesome CB2 opposite Marshawn Lattimore. And then with Mikey Sanders still being able to kick back into the nickel, that is a really, really nice trio of corners. I love that for them. So the Trey Amos pick is great. Good value, good player, going to be able to contribute from day one, instant starter, somebody that can be in this league, barring injury, knock on wood, for a decade easily with his technique and the fact that he doesn't have to rely on athleticism to win. Moving into day 3, they spent the pick they got back in the Laramie Tunsil trade on Jalen Lane, the wide receiver out of Virginia Tech, in the 4th round. And I like this pick quite a bit. Now, I'm going to be honest, I did not watch Jalen Lane before the draft, but getting around to him after the draft, catching up on what I had missed out on, I definitely see the appeal here. Because you look at Washington's receiver room, and they don't really have like a true, reliable, consistent gadget player. I know they just went out and got Debo, but that's not really his game anymore. You know, Debo isn't somebody you're going to give a ton of pop passes to get him out in space and expect him to make a bunch of guys miss to get into the end zone. He's just not really doing that for you much anymore. And even if you think he can do it right now, he's getting to the point where it's not going to be a big part of his game, and Lane is going to be able to step into that role pretty easily. Or I even think there's a world, given his catch radius, and we'll talk about my notes on him here in a second, and his ability downfield, that he could become more of a deep threat for you. I don't want to say a Terry McLaurin replacement because that's disrespectful. I'm not trying to say anything negative about Terry, especially given the situation he's in right now with Washington. Please pay the man. He deserves to be paid. But in all seriousness, like, he could hypothetically fill that role as well. But taking a look at some of my notes here on Jalen Lane, he's 5'10", 191 pounds, good play speed and explosiveness for the position, ran just over a 4.3, a 4.34. He gets up to top speed very quickly as a route runner, as well as after the catch with the ball in his hands. He has very large hands relative to his size to snag the football out of the air. He also can make catches outside of his framework, so he has a very good catch radius for a bit of a skinnier receiver, or smaller receiver at least at 5'10". He's been utilized in the slot and in the backfield. He's really good on jet sweeps, handoffs, and reverses. He's a guy that's productive after the catch that you want to get out into open space. He has good contact balance to fight through arm tackles. He's just like a really, really good yak guy, right? Someone that, like I said, you want to get the ball in his hands, let him cook in space. Very similar to what like prime Debo Samuel was doing. He kind of made this, this Debo role that everyone wanted there for a couple years popular, and now more and more teams are doing it. And Jalen Lane absolutely can fit that role as well. As a route runner, he's able to break off routes quickly underneath. He's also shown the ability to stretch the field vertically as a route runner, and even in the return game, he can contribute. He has some production there as well. However, on the flip side of things, obviously a bit undersized at 5'10", just over 190 pounds. He's probably going to struggle, at least right away, to get separation against physical press corners. His quickness as a runner is only average given his straight, so when he actually has the ball in his hands, he is more fast than quick. A lot of his production in college came on those gadget plays that I've kind of referred to, and honestly, his production in college wasn't fantastic to begin with, and also I would like to see him separate a little bit better as a route runner. But overall, like, I definitely see a world where he can contribute right away, and I definitely see a world where he can eventually step into a bigger role depending on how he develops. Now, obviously, this is back-to-back years where here in this 3rd, 4th round range, Washington has kind of taken a receiver that isn't like a proven commodity or anything like that. Talking about Luke McCaffrey last year as well, but I like Jalen Lane a good bit. I wish I would have talked about him pre-draft, or known about him pre-draft rather, so I could have talked about him a bit more, because I was definitely impressed with what I saw, and I definitely see why Washington wanted him here in the 4th round. But then speaking of Debo Samuel, they trade away their 5th round pick to go get him. And then in the 6th round, they end up taking Kane Medrano, the linebacker out of UCLA. And I'm just going to right away say the reason I don't like this pick as much as some of the other ones, and granted, I still gave it a B+, is because with all of these day 3 linebackers, I have been, I don't want to say nitpicky, but I have been pounding the table saying that anyone who passed on Sean Dolak on day 3 made a mistake. I am going to stand my ground on that. Pretty much anyone who took a linebacker on day 3, unless I thought like the value was tremendous, is getting at most a B+, because Sean Dolak going undrafted was absolutely criminal in my opinion. He was a tremendous college linebacker. I know he was a little bit smaller than Medrano, at least height-wise, pretty similar in terms of bulk, but he was a finished product at linebacker. Like, he doesn't need to develop. Sure, he can get better, but he doesn't like need to be part of your team. He doesn't need to get on the field. So I thought that was definitely somewhere I would have went personally. But that being said, for Washington, I do see the appeal for Medrano. Good athlete, sub 4.5 speed, great movement skills to play sideline to sideline. He's got that farm boy work ethic that you love to see, obviously. Very high motor player who runs hot in pursuit. He has good instincts and play recognition and coverage. He's got fluid hips that will allow him to mirror if he's up against a tight end or a linebacker in coverage. He's a former wide receiver with wide receiver ball skills, and he was a very prolific special teamer, had over 500 career snaps there, so if nothing else, he will be able to get on the field that way. However, the biggest problem I have with Kane Medrano is this guy is not a good tackler. His missed tackles in college were egregious and a major cause for concern. Additionally, he doesn't have the bulk or play strength that are ideal for an NFL linebacker, so you probably want to see him bulk up a little bit. His zone IQ is average at best, like it's passable, but certainly not fantastic. Against the run, his run diagnostics are definitely lacking. He's not good at stacking and shedding against the run either, so he's going to get caught up on blocks, and he often bites on play action. But as like a tradesy linebacker on day 3 saying it's the 6th round, we're going to throw a dart at the board, hope we can hit him. If we don't, so be it, it's the 6th round, not the end of the world. Maybe we can get him on special teams. I can't get mad at that, but I am, like I said, going to knock them, as I've knocked pretty much every other team who took a linebacker on day 3 for not taking Sean Dolak here, because that is somebody, you look at Washington's linebacker room right now, he could have been a really, really nice contributor with Bobby Wagner not getting any younger, obviously still playing some good football, but, you know, Wagner, who knows how long he has. Dolak could have came in, learned a thing or two from him, and then taken over as soon as next year. But I digress. Medrano definitely has upside. I definitely see the appeal. I just got to stay consistent, right? And finally, here at the end of the 2nd round, they took croskey-merritt, the running back out of Arizona. And honestly, it's kind of unfair to say he's from Arizona. For being honest, this is a guy that's coming from New Mexico and Alabama State, because at Arizona, he only played 1 game. Now, granted, he was with the team all season, so maybe I'm being a bit unfair to his contributions to Arizona, but his whole situation with the NCAA and the eligibility thing that kept him out for the year, I don't know the specifics of it. If you do, please do let me know down in the comments below. I don't know if that's public. I didn't really get a chance to fully look into it, but it seems like he handled that pretty well. He stuck around with the team, didn't miss any practices, didn't miss any meetings, was a part of the scout team. Like, he still contributed to the team, kept his head up, declared for the draft, and unfortunately fell all the way to the 7th round, but I definitely think this is someone where Washington got a bit of a steal. Didn't watch him pre-draft, so I don't have like my running back ranking for him or, where he landed on my big board or anything like that, but I was definitely impressed when I went back and watched him. So taking a look at my notes here, someone who stood out at the Shrine Bowl, won offensive MVP there, which was great. Something I really like about his game is his pass blocking ability. He's somebody that is always looking for work. He wants to hit guys, which is super exciting. I know that's not the main point of playing running back, but it's always fun when you see guys that play like that. Frame-wise, we're looking at someone who is 5'10", 206 pounds. He's got the bulk you want to see for the position. Maybe not the biggest guy in the world, maybe not like a power back per se, but definitely has enough bulk to let guys bounce off of him and things like that. While he's not like the fastest guy in the world, he's explosive. He accelerates well. He's able to hit his holes quickly and then take it the distance. He's able to pull away on runs and things of that nature. He's got elite footwork that allows him to show off a plethora of creative moves to make defenders miss and gain extra yardage. As I was kind of alluding to with his bulk, he's got solid contact balance and he's able to let guys bounce off of him while he churns his legs through contact. He shows a lot of promise as a receiving back, even though that wasn't really something he was asked to do in college. In 2023, his production for New Mexico was great, had over 1,200 total yards, 18 total touchdowns, and over 6 yards per carry. And also his stamina is really nice. So the reason I bring that up especially is because while he's not the fastest guy in the world, that acceleration I mentioned paired with that stamina means he's going to be able to hit his top speed quickly and then maintain that as he bursts through the hole and creates a little bit of separation and stays out in front of defenders. So that will allow him to break off those big runs. And that being said, though, with only one notable season of college production, the fact that he turned 24 in April, which is a pretty big deal for running backs, given that their shelf life is objectively shorter than that of other positions. His build isn't fantastic. It's fine, but he's not like overwhelmingly strong or a power back or anything like that, which does hurt his ability to gain yardage up the middle and will lead to him trying to bounce runs outside a lot more than you'd like to see. He can also be overly patient behind the line of scrimmage, and he runs very upright, which is going to limit his ability to make guys miss in space and makes him kind of rigid as a mover. So as a 7th rounder, I definitely like it. This would have been somebody that, if I had to guess, probably would have gotten a 4th, maybe 5th round grade from me, as like a, okay, this is a running back that can contribute in a room somewhere. That acceleration, his ability on 3rd downs as both a blocker and potentially as a pass catcher, as well as his vision, are definitely going, vision and footwork more specifically, are definitely going to make him a relevant running back, I think, on this team. You look at their running back room right now, Brian Robinson's had some injury problems. Austin Eckler is not an NFL running back that's any good at this point. And then with Jeremy McNichols and Chris Rodriguez, I think he can easily get in the mix with those two to kind of get in there and maybe be the RB3, fight for some reps, fight for some carries, things of that nature. But again, it's the 7th round, so if he doesn't make the roster, not the end of the world, just someone that I absolutely think has the potential to contribute in this room. But all that being said, I do like this class quite a bit. I'm gonna give it an A. I definitely think Washington did what they needed to do and made the most out of the few picks they had. Connor Lee has the potential to contribute right away. We'll see if he ends up winning a starting spot. Trey Amos will contribute right away as a starting corner. Jalen Lane has the potential to get himself on the field early and often on some of those design touches. Medrano and Merritt, we'll see if they make the roster. If they do, both of them have a path to potentially get on the field within the next year or two. But if they don't, not the end of the world, sitting there in the 6th and 7th round. But anyways, folks, that is going to do it for this video. Not as many players to talk about, so it is a little bit on the shorter side. Didn't have any UDFAs I wanted to bring up. There just weren't any that Washington picked up that were on my radar personally, but maybe there was someone I missed. You guys will have to let me know down in the comments below. And also just let me know your general thoughts on this draft class. Are you a fan? Is there anyone I was too high on, too low on, anything in the middle? Definitely let me know. I'm excited to hear what you all think. Try not to rib me too hard for Jaden Daniels. I've gotten it and then some over the past year, but then again, if you do, I can't really blame you. That was a bad miss on my part. In all seriousness though, please make sure to leave a like down below if you enjoyed the video, as it does help out the channel a ton. It shows your support, it shows you care, and I really do appreciate it. And also make sure to subscribe for more NFL content coming your way throughout the rest of August into the regular season and so on. Who knows, maybe one of these rookies will eventually get a film breakdown on them once we're in the season. Very possible, but either way, most importantly, I hope you all enjoyed, and I hope you all have a wonderful day, evening, night, afternoon, whatever time of day it is for you. I hope you enjoy it because you're all wonderful people and you truly do deserve it.
Had a chance on the throwback. This was an ill-advised throw. What an unbelievable catch by Cole Kmet. And he cups it too. No movement when he hits the ground, tucked up against his shoulder.
Wow. Using that